When we look at the scale of isolation and loneliness, and I know the data largely in the United States, and according to the research that the Surgeon General refers to, half Americans have three friends or less. Said differently, half Americans do not have four friends, and one out of six American men say they have no friends. And further research shows that Americans are not satisfied with the number of friends they have. If you search around, you will find competing numbers, but the research the Surgeon General references and has alarmed him enough that he's declared epidemic of loneliness indicates this. And when you look at numbers that big, I don't think that it makes any sense saying it's individuals saying, I don't want to make friends or I don't have a willingness to create relationships. I think there's something broader in our culture, which is a really big conversation. And I'm like, loath to start the conversation because it's such a big one. I'll just say that one of them is we're a culture that has celebrated individual achievement and has framed that in the formation of our youth for no less than two generations as success beating other people. And when you live your life being taught, my value in the world comes from beating other people, that goes against the type of skills where you form relationships, we're in it together and we help each other, which would be more community minded, more perhaps tribal, more village oriented. So let us not be surprised that 50 years later, 100 years later, we have a whole bunch of people working in isolation, wishing they could be more connected. Another issue is that Americans are working harder than we've ever worked before because to achieve the middle class, you got to work harder. It's been a dramatic change in how hard one needs to work to have your own home, have access to education, healthcare for your family since just when I was in college in the 1990s. Dramatically. And if you're just exhausted working so much and also scared because you can't hold on to your lifestyle of having healthcare, housing, and education, then there's just not a lot of time there to do the stuff that used to happen before. Famously, Bob Putnam out of Harvard said, we're even bowling alone. We know that picnics are down and that kind of thing. In addition, I think there's a missing skill set. And part of it is if you're not spending a lot of time with other people for maybe good reasons, you're not also putting in reps on how to spend that time so that it's rich and it generates the kind of friendships you want. And then the elephant in the room is social media. And as I live in Silicon Valley, and I had a very smart, educated friend working in tech tell me, Charles, you and no one you know are going to beat the, figuratively speaking, MIT PhDs paid millions of dollars to get your attention. And you're not going to win, Charles. Your kids are not going to win. Your neighbors are not going to win. These devices are going to steal our attention. And at some meaningful level, it's a zero-sum game. If we're spending time with technology, we're not spending it in the interpersonal relationships, and you add 20 years of adulthood and well, the results look consistent with that. So my point is there's a lot of forces here working against us as a culture generating relationships that we want and that are helpful. And so for those of us who take time to get better at it, we are ever more important in getting us through this.